this. But the Trump White House has revoked every single White House press corps press pass, taken them away, including all 6 of the Washington Post White House correspondents. Do you understand what's going on here? And we're still talking about whether or not to impeach this filthy fucking Trump. Are you kidding me? But let me give you this story. It's from Dana Milbank. He says, for the past 21 years, I've had the high privilege of holding White House press pass, a ticket that gives the bearer a front seat to history. I was in the White House the night Bill Clinton admitted his affair with Lewinsky, the day he was impeached. I was there on September 11, 2001, and the fearful days thereafter when we were trained to use escape hoods. I watched George W. Bush make the case for the Iraq War, Barack Obama pitch his remedies for the market crash, and I've also witnessed the carnival-like briefings and high histrionics of Donald Trump's presidency, but no more. The White House has eliminated most briefings and severely restricted access to official events, and this week came the coup de grace. After covering 4 presidents, I've received an email informing me that Trump's press office has revoked my White House credentials. I'm not the only one. I was part of a mass purge of so-called hard pass holders after the White House implemented a new standard that designated as unqualified to attend a press briefing or come into the White House or that area almost the entire White House press corps, including all 6 of the Post White House correspondents, because Dana Milbanks writes for the Post. White House officials then chose which journalists would be granted exceptions. It did this over objections from news organizations and the White House Correspondents Association. A big fucking deal, right? The Post requested exceptions for its 6 White House reporters and for me, saying that this access is essential to our work. And in my case, I often write sketches describing the White House scene. The White House press office granted exceptions to the other 6, but not me. I strongly suspect it's because I'm a Trump critic. The move is perfectly in line with Trump's banning of certain news organizations, including the Post, from his events and his threats to revoke White House credentials of journalists he doesn't like. White House officials provided no comment for the record. Now, virtually the entire White House press corps is credentialed under so-called exceptions, which means, in a sense, that they all serve at the pleasure of Sarah fucking Huckabee Sanders, because they all failed to meet credentialing requirements, and therefore, in theory, can have their credentials revoked at any time if they annoy Trump, like CNN's Jim Acosta did. Last year, Judge Timothy Kelly, a Trump appointee, ordered the White House to restore Jim Acosta's press credentials, saying that the White House's process for revoking his access was, quote, shrouded in mystery, end quote. In response, the White House established a clear, if nearly impossible, standard. Here's how it works now. No credentials to any journalist who is not in the building on at least 90 out of the previous 180 days. In other words, 7 of every 10 workdays. The White House wouldn't provide numbers, but appears that most of the White House press corps didn't qualify for credentials under this new standard, including regulars for the Post, the Associated Press, and on and on. Trump, who has spent more than 200 days at Trump properties and many more on travel, is barely in the White House that much himself. This is how it begins. More important than what happened to Dana Milbank, he writes that the White House is drastically curtailing access for all journalists. Briefings have been abolished in favor of unscheduled so-called gaggles on the record, but impromptu in the White House driveway. The Pentagon and the State Department have done the same thing. The White House has also restricted access by allowing only one journalist from a news organization at most events, and by admitting journalists to events only if they register days in advance. Milbank concludes, I'll keep covering the White House, albeit from a distance, and wait for things to return to normal, if they ever do. Well, there you go. Trump has ordered everybody associated with his filthy fucking criminal ass not to testify before Congress regarding the Mueller investigation because Trump is so innocent. He's totally innocent. That's why he wants nobody talking. You do understand what's going on. He has brought a gag order down on anyone who is questioned by Mueller, even though his claim of executive privilege is horseshit. Once McGahn, for example, testified for hours. And now Trump tries to claim, well, you've heard all this shit. I'm not going to get into the details. Rachel Maddow and who does the people at night on MSNBC, they'll be happy to explain it all, right? But Trump has decided in his move, and remember what I said last week about there's a good chance he's going to declare a state of emergency and cancel the election in 2020? It sounded like horseshit to me. Even I said, oh my God, I sound like Alex Jones. That's what this is. Trump is not just destroying the Constitution and eliminating Article 1 of the U.S. Constitution and taking away from the Congress their right of oversight. Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer had better get Schumer simply because, now forget Schumer, Pelosi had better make her move, and she better make it now. This son of a bitch needs to be impeached. He has to be. Because if he's not, and even if he is, our little experiment here in self-governance, after we slaughtered millions of people and enslaved millions more, our little experiment in self-governance is coming to an end. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcast. You have your choice. You can listen to the ranting with the audio podcast or listen and watch me lose control with a video podcast subscription. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.